Welcome everyone! Welcome to another preview. This is MetalCanyon and we'll be checking out a game by Blackbird Interactive called Hardspace Shipbreaker. A big thank you to Dr. Loco for gifting me this one because he said it sounded like it would be right up my alley. And oh boy, how right he was. It's a sci-fi sort of mechanic simulator type game, but different. A lot different. And I have to show you this game. And before you start, you have to choose your profile, or, well, in this case, license. The LYNX Corporation, with this lore in the future, in the dystopian future, pretty much controls everything. Mega corporation. So anyway, you have to apply for the license, and this is pretty much your difficulty setting. Easy, normal, hard, and I suppose impossible or something. But unlike a lot of the games, it actually gives you some very interesting choices, not just more powerful enemies because, well, there's no enemies per se here, but it gives you the normal one is how the game was supposed to be played, with unlimited lives because you get clones, but you work on the clock. Time is money, which means there is a 15-minute time limit per shift. I will explain more about this later, and I'll explain why I've chosen the easy one after playing this one for a little bit. I'll explain this. And of course, you also have the one where you only have 30 clones for the entire campaign, and then no revival for the ultimate experience. But let's go for this one. And it's really lovely that it also asks you whether you want to have limited oxygen or not. So I have chosen to have the drain enabled, but after playing one of the shifts, I decided to just disable it and go for a fully relaxed experience. And I will also explain why I prefer that very much. One is because you basically can just fully relax, immerse yourself, and actually feel like you're doing a whole day's work as a science fiction cutter in space. So this is our living quarters in space, of course, where we have various options. We're almost 1 billion credits in debt, and let me tell you, it sounds different. It sounds a lot worse than it is because, well, in the future, inflation has gone rampant. So our daily fee just for the hab and the rental of the tools is 500,000 credits. So that will give you some idea. Of course, I've done a fair few shifts, and yeah, getting money is not so easy. So you've got your messages that people can send you. This is all early access, by the way, just so you know. You probably know that already. When you find any data on ships, you can have data recovery, where you will recover it, and sometimes you will get audio logs, sometimes you'll just get text or maybe even images to look at, and sometimes you'll get a combination of. And you know what the really funny thing is? This game does not really sort of concentrate on the story. It concentrates on taking ships apart because you're basically a space junkyard man. But the audio, the voice acting is actually a lot higher quality than in a lot of games that actually concentrate on the story. Case in point being Cloudpunk, that I've done a review a while ago. So, for example, why can I not play this? What's going on? Okay. Not really sure what's going on there. Why can I not? There. Okay. Maybe that was not the best one, but yeah, I won't spoil it for you. The voice acting is actually really good in this game, believe it or not. Anyway, then you've got the equipment, where it's the juicy part. We've got a laser cutter, a handheld grapple, which uses the Van der Waals field. So obviously this is the guy that invented the sort of, I don't know, gravity manipulating thing. You can call it a gravity gun if you really want. And of course, everything has a durability, which you have to repair after your shift or after a couple of shifts. And everything has a bunch of upgrades you can do. And of course, they're locked behind levels or your certification. And the really interesting thing is, some of the stuff, one of the upgrades is to actually purchase. For example, the thrusters, or the helmet, or the work suit. Because of course, you start out with just renting all of this stuff. Which takes money away from you every day. So anyway, let's start the shift. You are a shipbreaker. So you work in a shipyard or a junkyard and you take apart ships. We only have this one available here. Okay. You can go through the grades. As you start out, you only have... You start with a training one. This is the tutorial. And the guy that's actually helping you is really cool sounding. I really like the voice actor. Good job there. And then you go for your trainee grade, where you have the little tiny ships. Then the next one... And I'm at grade 4, I'm not at grade 5 yet. So, we've got the larger ships here, which are pretty cool. And as you flip through them, obviously they'll add more ships and such. You get their weight, so these are 150-ish tons. And the total value of the stuff on board is about 14 million. So that's a pretty nice chunk, if you manage to get that. You'll also get what kind of core systems it has. So for example, Class 2 reactor and an ECU. These are all the same because it's all the same model. But you also get hazards. So for example, explosion hazards, freezing hazards, electrical... Oh no, this is the explosion. This is the fire hazard. And what kind of resources you'll probably find on them. So let's pick one and actually do it. Let's do... I don't know. Let's do this one. The swordfish one. Yes. Alright. I love the music in this game. I love the music. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but for me, who's a huge fan of the Firefly series, this makes me feel like you're in the Firefly universe. And you're on the frontier. And, you know, you're just a... I don't know, roughneck working in tough conditions. So obviously, we're in 0G. The game does not entirely simulate physics in space completely 100%. I think that's for gaming reasons. For example, stuff does seem to have a bit of a drag after a certain number of seconds, so it will slow down and stop. I think that's from stopping you from just having stuff fly all over the place and never having a chance to actually do anything about it. But this is our ship. Obviously, we have a limited number of thruster fuel down below. We have our health, our suit health as well. You can actually crack your suit and damage it, or even have a hole in the suit, which will mean that the oxygen will escape. There's lots of stuff that can happen. And on the other side, we've got our processor. We've got processor on both sides. So this is where the nanocarbon stuff goes. The game will tell you what goes where. And the furnaces, which is where the aluminum and all the other stuff, the scrap, goes. And down there, we have the barge, where we put the stuff that's valuable and doesn't need to be processed, like the reactor, antennae, and so on and so forth, and the computers. And the really cool thing is, I am thoroughly impressed by this game's ability to not only have a fully working ship with systems in it and such, but also to simulate pressure. So for example, if we look inside the ship, all these blue areas are actually pressurized. So if we were to cut a hole in here with the cutter, for example, we would have quite some explosive decompression going on, which can be dangerous, although in most cases that will mean that you'll lose a lot of the stuff that you could actually salvage. What is this? I've never seen this before. It's very bright over here. I don't see it. It's a sensor tower. Interesting. And this actually goes into the barge. Oh man, I love the music so much. So, we use the Van der Waals field to pick stuff up. Those little brackets over there actually show you the health of this thing. So, things are quite brittle in space. And we'll put it on the barge because it says down over there, barge. So, it goes to the barge. It's pretty far.
Credits deposited.
Oh man, this music, it almost makes me want to cry. I'm serious. It's so good. It's so nice. Ooh, this is a different ship from what I had before. Anyway, the really cool thing is, you see all this stuff, right? These ships are actually quite cool. All of this stuff, this is not just, oh, this looks cool, but you can't do anything about it. No, you can take apart everything you see here. And this is one of the reasons why I like playing without a time limit, because look, we're already 3 minutes in. You know, you have to rush in and do stuff, but here you can take your time and actually take the entire ship apart. So I was talking about systems actually working, and what's more, systems work and pressure works while you can actually move the entire ship. It is extremely impressive for me, game-wise, mechanics-wise. So
Airlock pressure levels dropping.
this will now depressurize the airlock, and we can go in and repressurize it. And of course, what we want to do,
Airlock pressure levels increasing.
because we'll be taking the ship apart, is of course that we wish to depressurize the entire ship. You will notice with my thrusters and stuff that you can actually hear a lot more stuff now, because, well, we're not in space anymore. Well, we are in space, but we are in a pressurized environment, which means that the sounds can actually propagate. Of course, you can also hear your little thrusters in space, but very much muffled because it's just vibrations through your suit. So they are fairly scientifically correct in that way. So we're gonna open up all the doors. Okay, that's the reactor. This is a pretty nice thing. The last one I actually blew this reactor. Yes, when you pull this reactor out of its cooling sleeve, it starts to melt down, so you have to put it on your barge quickly. Okay, we're also going to use a key we have to vent the thruster controls. Now you can do it. You can do this without the key as well, not vent the thrusters, but you can just take them apart. But there's you know, a danger of them exploding or going on fire and such. So, you know, risk and reward. There's also electrical hazards and such. So this should be towards the cock. Whoa, 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 whoa. Close that. Oh, jeez. Okay. Not really sure what happened there. We're unpressurized now, and our radio has malfunctioned. Oops. We've actually damaged our suit a little bit. Well, that was a good beginning. I thought this was pressurized, but apparently not. So, Is that pressurized? No, it's not. I mean, it is.
Pressure level decreasing.
Okay, you can also grab on things. So that one room did not have pressure. Now this one won't have pressure either. Let me actually use the pressure regulator. Try to get some pressure into the ship.
Air pressure level increasing.
Before we do that stupid stuff again. Oh, God.
Air pressure level.
Okay, never mind. So let's try to do this again. This should close the doors.
Air pressure level increasing.
And now we'll drain the entire ship.
Air pressure level decreasing.
There we go. Now the entire ship has been depressurized. You just have to find these regulators and do that. But you have to remember, that was the worst I've ever done, by the way, with pressure. I don't know what the heck was going on there. But you have to remember that the airlocks are still pressurized, so you have to be careful when you're getting those. So this is the reactor, and does it only have one? Oh yeah, this is the maintenance axis. I'll show you that just in a few seconds. By the way, I wanted to say that while I absolutely adore this game, there is a bit of a optimization problem. Okay, this should it doesn't open the airlock anymore. That is strange. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with this ship. Usually, while you have the ship depressurized, you can actually open the airlocks and they will open up to space just fine because, you know, there's no pressure anyway. But yeah, now with this ship, I'm guessing there's a bug where you cannot open them. But that's fine because we have our cutter. Let's go to the maintenance area and I'll show you. Yeah, anyway, there's a bit of an optimization problem. The game runs fine, but I have to actually run it at a lower... Oh, that was pressurized as well. Jeez. This is not how you do depressurization, by the way, because you can damage things. Okay. Now, we're in this outer section of the inner side of the ship. Oh, there's a maintenance key. There's the thrusters. I love the breathing and everything as well. It really makes you more immersed in stuff. So this is the reactor. It's got fuel lines and coolant tubes going through it. And the reason why I actually had it go critical and blow up last time is because I was cutting this coolant tube. And I still don't know whether the game actually takes that into account. Oh, heatsink. Takes that into account or not when you cut coolant tubes. Does that actually have the reactor melt down? I don't know. There is a fuse here, but that might actually electrocute us. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start cutting these cut points. There's various cut points along the ship which you can cut to take it apart, but you can also cut apart aluminum. For example, do a line cut with aluminum. Why isn't it showing my... There we go. So you can do a line cut with aluminum, but not with nanocarbon. So if I try to do that, it just bounces off. So we're going to do a point cut, and we're going to cut the top parts of the ship here. Oops. There we go. So that falls apart. There you go. But you have to start, you know, thinking about what will fall apart and where when you do this. We can also take apart the axis, the airlocks, because we don't need these anymore. We're in a depressurized environment anyway. There we go. We're also going to cut that, but of course the ship is going to be holding together in other places as well. This is the bottom part. We're going to do the upper part first. I cannot tell you, I will show you that in just a bit. I cannot tell you how incredibly satisfying the developers have made this game when you pull large chunks apart. Oh, there's a cut point. Yeah. I don't know, I just find it really satisfying because we have tethers available as well. So we can push this away now with our suit and just our thrusters. And then of course use the van der Waal field. So this is the, this stuff is all nanocarbon. So this will go into one of the blue processors and you'll get awarded for that. And of course, it depends on how heavy the item is. Depending, oh yeah, I want to take the switch off as well. Because this goes to the barge. Go to the barge. All right. So let's take this. And that will go... Oh, that's already floated away, by the way. Because we've cut those points and the ship isn't holding together anymore. Let's push that towards the processor. When it's close to the processor, it'll actually get sucked in and get processed. So, this is a very big chunk of the ship. And the lovely thing about this ship is that all of this outside is all nanocarbon. So you don't have to cut stuff away or waste it. So, now we're going to use tethers because this thing is 850 kilograms. Actually, that's just that part. This one is 200. So this thing in total, as you can see, is 3.5 tons. So, doing this with our grapple is just not going to work in a timely manner. In fact, if we try to pull it towards us, it's just going to pull us. And if we try to actually use the push thing, it pushes us instead. So, oh, break. Okay. So, we're going to use a grapple, and we're going to grapple it towards there. Now, because it's a very big thing, oh, no, that's okay. One grapple will do. But this is so satisfying, pulling things off the ship and towards the processors, knowing that you'll get lots of stuff for it, and then seeing the interior on the ship, or the, you know, the guts of the ship like this when you pull it apart. I don't know why, but it's just so incredibly satisfying. And on the upper part of the screen, you'll see that bar go down as we process the total weight of the ship. There it goes. The only thing that I miss here is that I would have a little thing that would say how expensive that was. You know, that would be nice. So let's try to get more of the ship apart here. I can show you a few more large parts floating away. But yeah, the sound effects are excellent. They really make you feel like you're a sci-fi junker. The music is amazing. I love this sort of Wild West-y sci-fi twanging guitar that they've also used in the Firefly series. I think it's actually called sliding guitar, this style. And I love it. I love it so much. And I just think it really fits. It makes you feel like you're on the frontier doing the stuff. So, let's see. Even though these are really large parts, I believe we could push these up. Let's see. So, the way you'll see this is you push against it, and if your speed over down there, the meters per second, doesn't go up, well, very slowly, it's still attached somewhere. So we can look for the yellow points. These are the bottom ones, but the upper parts should be fine. So it's still attached somewhere. That's probably here. Well, this is the other part. We'll do that. And there's those parts as well, but that shouldn't really matter for that side. There we go. Sometimes the parts will float away a little bit, and sometimes they won't. Depending on the size and whether something bumps into them and so on. That's actually interesting. It's like doors. So this one goes into the furnace because it's aluminum, and it's 800 kilograms. I think we could push it. Yeah, we could. There we go. I've actually upgraded my grapple so it has this charge up push thing. Yeah. Let me see. So what is still holding this together? Well, one of the things might be this. I would have liked to take this one out in one piece. There. That's now not being held by anything. And I believe we could also push this. No, not yet. Anyway, you have to take your time and learn a ship. This is only my second time taking the ship apart, so, you know, the cut points and where it's held together, I'm still learning that. But like I said, it's extraordinarily satisfying. Here's the barge. I mean, sorry, the airlock, which goes to the barge. Unfortunately, this one seems to be pretty hardy. I also want this switch. Actually, we could have done everything together, because that all goes to the barge. Go! Let me also bring the nacelles down, because that's a pretty cool thing. This ship does not have it. I mean, we've already purged the thruster fuel. So all we have to do is go here to the cut points and cut it away. Now, if you're doing this without purging the thrusters, like I said, there is a real danger you're going to make an explosion. Okay, and this one is, well, it is heavy, but for the sake of fun, I'm just going to use the grapple to pull it. And I don't know, it's just so satisfying seeing these giant chunks fly away and be pulled into processors or the barge.
Salvage deposit accepted.
So let's see. Where is this being held? So I've cut all these points. This should be free, this part. Well, let's see. And in fact, see, 2 meters, 3 meters per second. So we are pushing it away. And this is the really cool part for me. Getting this giant chunk off from the ship. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, that's so cool. It's huge. Look at it. Now, the only problem is it's going close to the furnace, and I should have grappled it over here. Oh, that's another chunk. Okay. So we're going to get that one as well, but the problem is this one will be in the way, and it'll interrupt the grapple. But that's so satisfying. I don't know why it is. But I love this game so much. I love it to bits. The music is great. The sound effects are great. The gameplay is great. The physics actually make sense and are fun. The zero-G, I love it. I love the fact that there's actually pressure and it's simulated, like you've seen. If you cut a hole into a pressurized ship, it'll actually be pretty explosive. It can blow you away, or, you know, it can do some serious damage. Things explode. The reactor goes boom. The last time the reactor goes boom, it blew half of this back area apart, and it didn't really like bog down the game or anything, and it was still a thousand pieces everywhere. It was very impressive, and I just love because you can get so immersed into this. Like I said, if you're a fan of Firefly, this music will make you feel like you're in the Firefly universe, you know, working for the mega corporations, barely making ends meet, doing dangerous jobs, but it's actually so much fun doing this. So I am thoroughly impressed by this game. I really thought when I first saw it was like, oh, that's an interesting concept, you know. It's probably, like I said, like I usually have the misconception that it's going to be a bit janky, a bit low budget, excuse me. But it's just such a gem of a game. If you like this sort of stuff. Oh, I think that's actually free. Is that loose? I think it is. Yeah, that's loose. I love the music. Come on then. There it goes. And we gotta make sure that there's no high value objects on the other side, like coolant tanks, fuel tanks, and so on. So there's nothing there. Look at that. That's so cool. Oh man. I love it. And I cannot believe that the voice acting is so good. I cannot believe that you can do all of this to the ship and it'll still try to, well, not try to. It's never bugged out on me. It's never done weird things. It's always done, you know, it's always simulated the pressure, no matter what I did to the ship. It simulated the systems. I would like even more simulation, more options, because right now you can play around with the pressurization. You can play around with the power a little bit, but that's about it. I would like to see even more systems you can play around with and change and so on and so forth. I'm pretty sure they'll add something like that. For example, there's the coolant tanks. You have to be pretty careful with those, because if you bump them into things too hard, they will start leaking. Oh. We destroyed a panel. Oh, was that aluminum? Oh yeah, because of that little thing on top. That hatch. Oh well. It's not a huge deal. But yeah, if you bump into that can actually start leaking, I don't know what it is, liquid nitrogen or something, and it can freeze stuff or it can freeze you. It's not good. But yeah, I just love this game so much. I could not believe that a game like this could be so much fun. I mean, I do like the sort of more niche simulator games, but like I said, this looked interesting. I just didn't think that they could really deliver something as incredibly enjoyable, polished, and awesome like this. Like I said in the beginning and never finished it, the optimization right now is a bit of a problem. It's actually damaged the power generator. I'm still not sure. I think maybe if I were to take all the fuses out first, I'm not sure. But this needs to go to the barge, and this is pretty heavy actually. Also, I love the sound effect of this Van der Waals field. There you go. So for example, we've completed an objective. There we go, salvage power generator. So for example, if you're trying to pick something up, you hear the power, the Van der Waals field. Let me stop. So if I move it around, look at that. That's so cool. Now right now it doesn't go to the red one where it tells you you're gonna lose a connection. Let's see. No, because we cannot even move this one. But I love how they've done that. Everything sounds very sci-fi, but doesn't sound annoying at the same time. You know, it's brilliant. Sound design, graphics, the system, the mechanics, the music, the voice acting. this game is as close to a perfect game for like a simulator type game as I could think of. This is so much fun. I cannot put it into words. And this ship, if I were to just do it without babbling on about in the video, it would take me about 70 minutes to take apart fully if I wanted to be, well, probably more. But if I wanted to be thorough, you know, put everything in its place, so everything in the processor that goes there, everything in the furnace that goes there, all the computers, the seats, and all that stuff into the barge. So, you know, to maximize your money. But that's one of the things I wanted to talk about at the beginning. I love the fact that they actually give you the option of playing without the time limit, because we're already over the 15-minute time limit. And like I said, without the time limit and without the oxygen limit, it just becomes so relaxing and cool. I absolutely love it. I like challenges in games, but in this game, I love this feeling. You still have a limited amount of thruster fuel. Oh yeah, let me also show you the, not the nacelles, but the large thrusters in the back. That's also cool. Oh, I should have taken that one first. Let's do this. Might bump into the other one first. No. Okay. So let me show you the thrusters here in just a moment. Oh, I'm actually close. Oh, we're gonna die now. We're gonna die now. Come on. We're getting pulled. Oh, speed. Okay, actually, I can do this. Come on. Oh. If you get too close to these, they actually pull you in. That's why the music also changed. And yes, believe it or not, the music actually changes seamlessly when there's danger around. It's just... I cannot have enough good things to say about this game. Please, if you're at all interested in this sort of stuff, go and check it out. It is amazing. You will not regret it, I tell you right now. And no, I'm not being paid to say this. I wish I was, but holy moly. You know I always give you my honest opinions on games. And this is just absolute... Where are you going? That way. This is just absolutely a brilliant gem of a game. And if you like taking your time and taking this entire ship apart, yeah, try it with the time limit first, but yeah, also try it without the time limit and without the oxygen limit. And it's brilliant. So we have to be careful with this thing. We're gonna slowly get it out of there because it's pretty big. Also, I have to be careful because this thing is half a ton. And if it smacks into you too hard, well, it can, yeah, do some damage to your suit. And you don't want that. So that's how you take the thrusters out. Every ship will be a little bit different. I mean, the type of ship. This ship, you just sort of cut it and take it out. The smaller ships, you actually have to go inside. And, no, actually, I'm lying. The smaller ships, you just take the caps out as is. So here's the fuel tanks, by the way. You can also take these out. And of course, you have to be kind of careful. Let's get it a little bit closer. Stop. So I have to be aware that this Van der Waal field sort of acts like a little bit of a spring that's attached between you and the item. So it depends where you grapple it, how it'll move, and how big the how long the actual grapple rope, so to speak, is. But yeah, I absolutely adore this game. There's so much more stuff. There's also dangers like this reactor, like I said. You have to first open up the bottom. I'm actually still not sure how exactly to take this reactor apart, whether from the top or the bottom. So this is the reactor plate. And of course, it's also encased in glass. I think it would be best to just open it up on both sides first. And then touch the reactor plate and all the other stuff. Because with the smaller ships, you just pull the reactor out of its sleeve and that's it, from top to the bottom to the barge. But this one, I haven't figured out yet because I never got the chance, because I took most of the ship apart and then I cut this coolant pipe and the reactor started going critical and I couldn't get it out in time. So yeah. Anyway, I really hope you've enjoyed this preview. I know I've babbled and fanboyed about it, but trust me, this thing is amazing. I love it. I love it so much. And I really do recommend you play it. So there's one more thing I haven't mentioned. Every time you go back, for example, over here, you can buy extra thruster fuel. So you're not actually limited by anything if you don't play with time limit. You're just limited by oxygen if you have that on, or simply by thruster fuel. So you can buy that over here, or you can actually go to the ship. Oops. To the ship and get some thruster fuel over there, because sometimes they have some canisters of it and you can just use that. Also repair kits and so on and so forth. So the only reason the time limit is annoying, well, one is you have a time limit, and two, when you go back, every time you go back to your hab, you actually have to pay 100, well, not 150, I don't know how much. You have to pay rent and such. So see, the almost 10 tons of nanocarbon was almost 500,000, so that's pretty good. We didn't get the really expensive stuff yet, like, well, we did get some nacelles, but we didn't get the reactor yet, or the ECU. So we've made 2 million here, and of course we have to pay about 500,000 in rent and such. So, you know, the more times you go back, the more of a dent this is going to make in your total money. But of course, we're still making money, so that's good. Anyway, and we have some data recovery here because we picked up that disk. Let's see what it is, and I'll leave you with that. It's an audio log.
Here is the machine. The machine.
Oh no, wait, sorry, that's not the one. It's this one.
They told me it was cheap to fly out to Mars, but I figured, hey, you try traveling in a tin can in space. It can't be all that bad, right? Well, it smells bad, the food ain't great, and let me tell you, because they never told me, it's hard to sleep without gravity. But hey, the trip's only a few days. Oh, get this. The captain, we bumped into a couple of wannabe pirates right outside of Mars Village, and he broadcast the whole exchange shipwide. The pirates are all, give us your passengers and cargo! And the captain's like, buddy, you don't want this. And the pirates are like, you don't know what I want. and anyways, they bicker back and forth for a bit. To cut a long story short, Captain opens the cargo bay doors and shows them what we're carrying. 50 tons of literal shit. And then the captain says, come get some, fellas. They bugged out. It was funnier than a movie. It really was.
That's actually pretty funny. There's a few actually funny ones like that. There was one that wanted to have actual ice cream on Mars, so he transported cows from Earth to Mars and so on. And then the guy said at the end, you know, after all of that and expensive stuff and months of work, he didn't taste the difference. Anyway, I really hope you've enjoyed this. This game is fantastic. I'll see you next time. Give this video a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't yet. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.